Welcome to another episode of the Get Out Swim podcast. I'm your host, Seamus T. Quinn, and today I'm joined by head coach of Coronado Swim Team Elite. This is Sam Hoekstra. Sam, thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Cool. So tell us about your new position with CSTE, because I reached out to you a couple months back. You were in the process of transitioning, and so now you've been at CSTE for probably like a month and a half. So tell us about the position. Like what drew you to CSTE, and how has the new role been so far for you?
Well, I would say the thing that drew me the most is just the fact that it's a club team in Southern California. Coaching is what I love to do. And so, I think CSTE had reputation of being an excellent club, producing excellent swimmers. And so what actually got me out to Southern California, to San Diego area, was the race club. Worked with them for about 6 months. This job popped up, and I was really missing traditional team coaching. That's my background primarily, since swimming myself in college, and it's just what I love to do, like I said. So the opportunity came about, and got to interview with a guy named David Marsh, who most swim nerds definitely know that name. And I actually interviewed for this position back in, I think it was around COVID time, actually. And I was living in Michigan coaching, and it just wasn't the right timing for me and my family. We were just starting to have kids, and it just didn't seem like the right time to make a cross-country move. So forward, 6 years, and here we are in Southern California. Job pops up again, and talked to David about it, and we were both really excited about the opportunity, and here we are, just living the dream. As you can see, I'm sitting outside right now. It's mid-October and 9 a.m. here, and the weather is beautiful. The sun's peeking through the clouds now, and I'm actually sitting outside of our Coronado pool. We had practice this morning, 6 to 7:30. It was actually a really cool foggy morning here, but looking right out onto Glorieta Bay here, with the sailboats in the background and the palm trees, and it's just an incredible spot to be able to coach. I get to coach outside in the sun. Just an awesome place to be.
Yeah, it seems like it from what I can see on videos on Instagram. And I know that myself, when I'm coaching outside and the swimmers are enjoying being out, just I think outside in general, it kind of changes the game for I think both sides. But certainly it seems like a great place to be. And so what was the interview like with David? Like, what was he looking for when, you two were interviewing, and had you known him before? What is your kind of relationship with David like?
Yeah, we've known each other for a few years. Brett Hawk introduced us. Obviously, David and Brett really close, and I got close with Brett through working with Fitter and Faster, and just getting to know each other, online and through social media. And so, yeah, like I said, we were introduced way back then and just kind of stayed in touch. He was kind enough to add me to a really cool coach group chat with just amazing coaches from all over the world. And so just staying connected through that. And then, we got to know each other a little bit. And then, again, through the interview process, just, learn more about each other and what our passions are. And it just seemed like a really good fit. He's he owns the team. And so, his role is more of an owner / advisor. We communicate daily. We talk all the time about just coaching philosophy, and we share stories and ideas, and we're constantly sharing videos with each other about swimming, about dryland, about just how to move the world of swimming forward, and how to make our athletes better, and just swimming as a whole better. And it's really cool. And that I get, you asked what kind of drew me to the position. That's definitely one of the things. I felt like in my young coaching career, I've had some great mentors, but none better than David Marsh. So I'm always looking for opportunities to help myself grow. And this definitely seemed like an opportunity to work with one of the best that's ever done it, learn from him, and get guidance, and just running a business and a club. And so, yeah, I don't remember what your original question was, but I think that answered it.
I think that suffice for sure. Yeah. So talk to me about what you're kind of doing with your athletes now. I mean, again, like shortly into the new position, but already, I'm sure working with your athletes with a bunch of different tools and whatnot. And I remember seeing on your Instagram early in September, it was some sort of post saying, like, often coaches think that the early fall is to just hit it really hard and to just like pound the yardage, get the aerobic fitness up. And so I'm curious as to how you kind of approach the fall training and with a new team. What are some of the things that you're doing on a day-to-day with your athletes?
Yeah, I guess my philosophy is to kind of prioritize quality. And so that can mean anything from the quality of your technique, the quality of your habits, simple stuff like streamlines and breathing patterns and stroke rate and underwaters and turns and starts, and just making sure that every rep counts. And so, in my opinion, and I actually started with a team a little bit late. I don't think I really officially started with them until maybe the second week of September. And so, we had to get moving pretty quickly. And, but again, in my opinion, the best way to do that is not to, okay, we're going to, start with $4,000 to practice this week and then move to $5,000 the next week and 6 and 7 and 8. And just for whatever reason, just build the yardage and the volume. In my opinion, it's much better to, again, start with those details and the habits, and take your time. Of course, take your time building the volume a little bit, but that's not really the main point. The point is to establish those things, and then to increase the intensity. Slowly increase the intensity, and start to train the central nervous system to swim fast early on, because it takes time. And if you're spending the first month of the season just building volume, then in my opinion, you can actually slow your body down, especially coming off of 2 or 3 weeks of rest where your body's in repair mode, and probably like recovery wise in a pretty good spot, right? So hopefully your body is healthy at that point, and then when you start to build upon good habits on top of that, as well as high quality short fast reps, and build those up, I think you're going to get a much better result, especially in end of October, November, December, where most people are already having their mid-season meets. So I'm not a fan of like okay, let's just beat you up for a couple months and then try to go fast in December. I think it can certainly work, and I think it does work for a lot of people. But I think it does that does take a little bit of a toll on the body, and then you go right back into hard training in late December, early January, and kind of do the same thing, and then by February your body's really beat up, and then all of a sudden you have to rest and try to go fast. And so I never want to put my athletes in a compromised position, right? I want to avoid injuries. Like that's our number one goal as coaches is don't hurt your athletes. Like that's and a healthy, happy athlete is a fast athlete. And so I just take a little bit of different approach to the beginning of the season.
Yeah, no, I understand that. As a club coach myself, I'm always looking for ways to ensure that the skill development is going in the right direction, and then sort of layering more work and quality work kind of on top of that. But I'm curious, like, what does that look like for you as a coach when you're structuring workouts for your swimmers and speaking about the quality and kind of training the central nervous system? Like, what's an example of how you kind of structure that for your athletes? Let's say.
Yeah. So similar to the bigger picture, the weekly schedule looks like I like to go fast early in the week when they're coming off of, usually Sunday, they have a full day of recovery. And I encourage my athletes not to just, lay around on Sunday. I like to get them moving, get them outside, spending time with friends and family. These are all things that we talk about constantly. It's not just passive recovery, but active recovery, taking care of your bodies. And so hopefully on Monday, we're not feeling another part of that is sleep schedule, right? So a lot of people change their sleep schedule. They stay up later on the weekends. I like to encourage my athletes to maintain as good of a sleep schedule and consistent as possible, so that they hit Monday and they're feeling refreshed, right? A lot of us, I think, especially as adults, we have busy weekends, or we end up staying up late watching, the shows that we didn't get to watch during the week, or football, or whatever it is, right? And so we come in on Monday a little bit groggy and slow, and I try to get my swimmers to kind of reframe that and think, hey, I'm just coming off of a full day of recovery. Now is the time to go fast, and that takes time too. And we're still learning. Like we're still a little bit slower than I'd like them to be on Mondays, but the idea is go fast. The central nervous system should be firing on all cylinders, and so start off the week fast, and then kind of build some volume upon that, and then get into more of the really difficult, threshold type work towards the middle of the week. And then we always finish fast, right? We want to train the bodies to be fast on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, right? When we're having meets typically and having to get up and race. So, and then within a practice, it's actually kind of the same thing. So, where I think a lot of teams are just doing the 1,000 to 1,500 of just like general warm up. We always do our dry land and activation at the beginning of practice. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're going 45 minutes to an hour of dry land. On Tuesday, Thursday, we do about 15 to 20 minutes of activation and prehab work. And so anytime we get in the water, our bodies are 100% ready to go. So we keep our warm-ups pretty short, and then we get into it. We get into some speed, we get into some skill development, some technique development mixed in there. And we don't really do like a big general warm-up, the first 20 minutes of practice. Like, to me, I can use that time. and we don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time in the water, right? We're not going
Right.
2.5 hours, 3 hours in the water every day. That's just not what we do. And if you know Southern California pools at all, it's the more time you spend in the water, the more expensive it gets. So we need to make the most of our time, and luckily my philosophy is aligned with that. So we're not wasting a lot of time at the beginning of practice, and so we put the speed up front while they're fresh. While this, we've worked on the technique a little bit, and we're putting those skills into practice immediately at speed. And then as our bodies fatigue a little bit, then we tend to get into more of the grindy stuff where we're working really hard, where we're pushing threshold, we're pushing the lactate up a little bit higher. And then I love to finish with legs, because as you know, any other coach knows, any swimmer knows what wins or loses a race is your kick at the end. And so you got to be able to finish strong with those fast feet. And so we're constantly working our kick towards the end of practice.
Yeah. Wow. It's challenging how I think about structuring my workouts already. It's interesting, like you said, starting off fast on Monday, because like to me, sometimes I'm like, oh, they've come off the weekend, we got to do more aerobic, or we got to go longer. But I mean, to me, yeah, it's challenging the way I think, because, okay, start fast in the beginning of the week and then kind of work in the harder threshold lactate-based production. I mean, it makes sense. I would assume, yeah, it takes time, like you said, for them to figure out how to go fast coming off of that maybe passive or active recovery on Sunday, whatever that looks like. But yeah, and then the dry land piece too. Yeah. So you say for your athletes, usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you'll do more of a longer form dry land, and then Tuesday, Thursday, it's more of an activation. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm really excited.
And how important?
Sorry, I'm excited to talk about dry land a little bit, because it's current. We're officially joining Aquatic Sports Performance. Nice. Sean up at Aquatic Sports Performance. They're not too far away from us, but obviously we're going to be doing their remote program. And we're just really excited about getting our kids stronger and keeping them healthy and injury free, and just excited to partner with them. So, but go on. Totally. Sorry, didn't mean to cut in there. No,
that's great. I've seen Sean's stuff with ASP on social media, and he seems to really know what he's talking about and really cares about just getting swimmers stronger and doing it right. So yeah, I was going to ask, like, in your experience and from your viewpoint, how important do you think dry land for age group swimmers? How important do you think that is to complement like the swimming? Like how much out of water work versus in water work? What's that ratio like? And again, how important do you see it as?
Yeah, so we're going about 3 hours of out of water work. And so it's a significant amount. I think it's extremely important, especially at the age group level, right? This is when we're building habits. And this is when the body is changing the most, right? When kids, I think, studies say girls like 12 to 14, their bodies are changing so much. And then boys, 14 to 18. And so I should say like 12 to 16 and 14 to 18. But like, it's just rapid growth, and genetics play a huge factor, but if you're providing the right stimulus, you can kind of steer, where the body goes. And so, for me, the biggest thing is injury prevention. I think swimming is a training sport, right? It's so repetitive. Yeah. And water is really thick, and we deal with a lot of resistance and drag and repetitions, and the dry land piece is one of the best ways to make sure our shoulders and our hips and our knees and all of our joints stay healthy.
Yeah.
And so I think establishing a great, consistent, well-coached program from an early age is extremely important. We're seeing athletes compete at a high level well into their 30s now. And I think the only reason we didn't see that before, well, there's quite a few, but one of the main reasons we didn't see that before is because a lot of what we were doing was just swimming, and the body breaks down when you just repeat the same motion over and over and over. And traditionally, swimmers put in a lot of yards week after week from the time they're 6 years old to 20. And by the time they hit 20, their joints are destroyed. And so I think taking some of that volume away from the water and doing movements on land that actually strengthen the joints. And when you pair that with not just strength, but mobility and flexibility and that kind of training, it just helps you stay healthy for a lot longer. And when you stay healthy, you're in the water more consistently. You don't have to take those long breaks. You don't get injured as often, right? And so, I'm sure if somebody really broke it down and did the math, like the fact that you can keep training over a course of 30 years consistently, you don't have to take those long injury breaks. You can, like, the volume wise, I'm sure is maybe more similar than people think. And so, it's a different approach, but I think it's a better approach. I think we're seeing less burnout, hopefully. That I'm sure more of that data will come in the next 10 years because it's still fairly new. But yeah, I think it's 100% the way to go.
That's great. Yeah. And like, what are some of your, I don't know, favorite exercises or just things that you implement, as a coach in conjunction with ASP that you really like for your athletes to do regularly?
A lot of core work, but a lot of people think core work is just, crunches and planks.
Sit-ups.
There's a lot more to it than that, right? Even when you're doing a squat, you're using your core, especially if you're doing it properly. But yeah, full body, dynamic, explosive movements. The classics are great, right? You can't replace a pull-up. And so one of the things that, like, one of our big priorities is just getting all of our kids to be able to rep out pull-ups, to do pull-ups with weight. And so that's a staple for sure. But we use TRX trainers. We do a lot of jumping. We do a lot of jump training to work on having not just strong legs, but explosive legs, and learning how to use your entire body to jump. It's nothing really fancy. No secret movements. There are some things we do on the TRX that are pretty unique that I don't think a lot of people are doing. And I kind of relate. I use Olympic rings too, and those are very similar. They're suspension trainers. And so with those, you're using, your entire body. You have to connect your upper body to your lower body with your core and learn how to produce force while you're, trying to keep those things connected. So
now I have a question.
I think, go ahead.
Let's say you're limited with resources at your club team and you're trying to get creative with how to implement, let's say, half hour's worth of dry land exercises. And again, you're limited to your resources. So do you think it's still worthwhile and possible to kind of make something work for your swimmers, just maybe more body weight related, or if you have some med balls or different resistance stuff, but it isn't like a full run of the mill setup.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to take some planning and it's going to take some creativity, but depending on what you have access to or what you can purchase, definitely get some medicine balls, get some bands, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can get TRX trainers, even a couple of them, get them. If you have exercise balls or just simply yoga mats, jump rope. Jump rope's one of my favorite tools. It's a full body exercise. It's cardio, right? You're getting that heart rate up. You're actually working speed if you learn how to do it fast enough. We use jump ropes every single day. And yeah, it's 100% worth it. I mean, you look at one of my favorite things, Virginia was posting a bunch of videos. They don't post as many anymore, but where they just go in like a dance studio with mirrors all over the walls, and they have lights going and music going, and all they have is a jump rope, a medicine ball, and a yoga mat.
Yes,
and it's like they're doing this those. Like super dynamic, fast, high intensity type dryland workout. And I know they get in the gym too, but I bet if you ask Todd, he would say that those dance studio workouts are just as important as anything else. So, and they're fun to do. And, but yeah, you got to have a little know-how, you got to be a little bit creative, and you got to plan a little bit. But certainly with even just that few equipment, you can make a great workout for sure. Totally. Make it fast, make it explosive, and just get the full body involved.
Yeah, I love it. What about swim in water? What are some of your favorite pieces of maybe equipment that you like to use? And that can be in the form, like resistance stuff.
Yeah,
too.
It's hard to beat a destro tower or a power rack, especially as a sprinter. Just those raw power tools are so fun, and you really feel, some of my favorite stuff is more like a French contrast, right? Where you're going on a rack, full rack, and you're just busting out a couple of just full power sprints, on short rest. And then boom, you take that belt off and you just feel like you're light as a feather and you're just flying, skimming across the surface of the water. That's definitely some of my favorite things to do. And especially with underwaters, I think where underwaters are going, they're just doing so many of them now, and they're so fast. And we know, swimming underwater, but the way drag works is faster. So if you can get your athletes to develop their underwaters to where they can hold them, it's essential in today's world of swimming. And so using those two pieces of equipment for those short bursts of speed underwater, just producing as much power as you can with every kick. There's a reason why Dressel could go to 15 meters with 6 kicks off the wall. Like it's power. It's nothing. It's just raw power. So
power, right? Power with some talent. Yeah.
Yeah. But much more simply, fins and paddles. And specifically when it comes to sprinting, I'm not I don't love doing a lot of volume I'm not a huge volume guy in general. For my distance swimmers, of course, they need it. But everyone's like, oh, you're the sprint guy. But I've, looking back at my teams, we've definitely had success across the board. So, and I think obviously that's the way that I train personally and what I swam in my career. So, but everyone gives me that label. But going back to fins and paddles, there's simple tools that everyone has. But when you think about it, even if, you increase the surface of your hand, even just a little bit, right? You give yourself web fingers, right? And I like to use really small paddles. So I'll use paddles for my fingers, and I have kind of big hands, but that paddle will come just like right here. It's not big. And everyone's like, why are you using that's smaller than your hand? You're barely getting anything. But that's the point, right? If you can increase that surface area by 5-10%, the amount of resistance, the amount of the pressure on that hand and what it takes to pull that hand through the water fast changes. And you don't need to go from 0 to 100 to stimulate change, right? And so when we're talking about top end speed, pure sprinting, if you just put that little paddle on and you're going at 100%, it's gonna make just enough change, stimulus to provoke change. So, and that's what we're going for, right? Just little bits of change, and the body's going to adapt. And then you can go to a slightly bigger paddle, or you can do slightly more reps, or each rep can be slightly longer, right? And so you're just changing these little variables. And it can have this really profound effect, and it's not complicated. Just grab your paddles and go fast, and just don't wear these big, you've seen it, right? These little kids throw on these giant paddles and they can't swim.
It's a little ridiculous. When you double the size of your hand and pull through the water. I like the idea of the smaller paddles.
Yeah. So paddles are one of my favorite tools for power and resistance and going fast.
Now, another question I have in thinking about some of the power and strength quality work too is like, I feel like one thing we're looking for as club coaches is to avoid burnout and also hopefully have our swimmers, want to join a college program if they want to go to college and do that. And I often get asked a question like, well, how much strength should I be building when I'm still developing, and versus how much do I want to, explore that when I'm with a collegiate kind of lifting program and strength program. And so I guess my question is like, how much do you consider that when you're looking at sort of like the physiology of your athletes? And even with like this, with the resistance stuff that you implement in the water, I always wonder, is it still helpful for them to be doing like weighted racks and stuff like that before they go off to like a collegiate program? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think the devil is in the details, right? Like, if and it's like this for weight training too, for dry land. If all you're focused on as a coach, if all you're focused on is how can I get this athlete as fast as I can right now, I think you're doing a disservice to your swimmers a little bit. Because there are some shortcuts, right? And I think one of those shortcuts is volume, right? Like if you
grind it out,
kick the crap out of your 12-year-old female who shows a little bit of talent early on, she's probably going to be pretty fast by the time she's 14. But what are you sacrificing down the road? And so, I think every coach needs to have this long-term development mindset. And it's not like, and I struggled with this early in my career. Well, if I don't want to intentionally hold them back, right? But it's not really what you're doing. You are giving them the tools to be successful, throughout their whole career. Not just right now. And so, I want my athletes to be their best, their sophomore, junior, senior year of college. And so, the approach that we take to these things is we are teaching them, and this goes for dryland too. We're teaching them how to do these things. We're teaching them how to use these tools. We're teaching them how to go fast. We're teaching them the mindset, right? And again, the skill development and the technique. And we're doing all these things, but we're not getting on the rack and the tower 3 times a week like a sprint program is doing in college, right? They're not going full racks, right? Some of my bigger, stronger guys we might push it occasionally. But also strength takes a lot of time to develop too. And so if you're just putting all that stuff off till college, and especially, especially on the male side of things, most male college swimmers just run out of time. They finish their careers and they're 80 to 90% of what they could be, because they're just hitting their stride their senior year. And if they win another 4 years, they would most likely get better every year. Girls are, their timeline is a little bit different, right? It's a little bit sped up.
Right.
But again, even in females, it takes time to develop that strength and that power. And I think you see a lot of females in their 20s start to really develop their sprinting, their 50s and 100s and even 200s, for some of those younger distance swimmers, right? Like you see those girls who are notorious for the 5 and the 8 and the mile and whatever. And then all of a sudden now they're starting to come down into the 2. And it's like, there's a reason for that. And it's because strength takes time to develop. So if you're waiting until you get to college, a lot of times it's too late, in my opinion. And again, if you have the right approach early on, you're not just getting stronger, but you're preventing injury and you're extending your career.
Yeah.
So
totally. No, it makes sense. I have a question based off of kind of what you said, but it also will lead me to you here and what you do for swimming. But you kind of mentioned it, that a lot of like guys will still have, stuff in the tank. Like they might not reach their potential till after college. We're seeing more and more athletes now find their stride post college years. And as they actually get older, late 20s, 30s, I mean, we're going to keep, I think, breaking barriers in that way, learning more as we go. But, even for you, like I saw that you did this challenge, I think it caught waves, last year, where you did 100 days of a 50 fast challenge. And it seemed like, what you didn't do a big long warm up, kind of like what we talked about earlier. There wasn't like a big 1500 warm up. It seemed like you just kind of did some activation on land and then jumped in and did a 50 fast, every day suited. Talk to me about what sparked the idea to do that challenge, and what did you learn sort of like during the process and after, now that it's obviously there's been some time afterwards, but yeah.
So I think it was, I'm pretty sure I want to.
Is it Jack? Is it the Aqua Strength Performance?
Aqua Strength. Yeah.
Okay. It's Jack and Cal.
And so Cal, I believe it was Cal. He like put on a story like, what would get better results if you did a 50 all out for 100 days, or if you did a 50 slow for 100 days. And it just got me me thinking, right? And so I was like, but hey, you know what? I can run that experiment. I might be one of the few people that can run that experiment. I was my last position was aquatics director and head coach. So, I had the keys to the pool. And so I was like, if there's ever a situation where, I had to go in and swim, or, bring my, family there or whatever, just go in and get it done with, at late at night or early in the morning or whatever. Because that's the hardest part of the whole thing, right? Is like to just have 100 days consecutively where nothing gets in the way of getting in the water.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, we'll try it. We'll see what happens. I didn't expect to last the full 100 days, like at all.
Interesting.
I think it was a miracle that I got through it. I got sick a few times. My wife had a baby in there. around the halfway mark. Like there are all these crazy life events going on, traveling for meets and all this stuff. But somehow I was able to get it done for 100 days straight. I don't think, I mean, I know I'll never be able to do that again. Like so yeah, like I had to rely on, other facilities to help with it and just friends. And it was a miracle that it was able to even take place. And then, the results were pretty profound from it. Like you said, I was doing no other swimming at the time. So the only time I was touching the water was for that 50 all out.
Wow.
No warm up, no warm down, just doing a little bit of activation. And that was it. And so, it's obviously starting something like that. I've never known anyone who's done anything like that. I've never done anything like that. And the results were insane. The way that I felt in the water. And then coming off of that, what I was able to do, in training and racing, I could do hundreds, I could do other strokes. There was just like this somehow, pushing my body the way that I was in not a normal sense, right? Everyone, thinks about like all the hard work, the hours. It's like I was doing, it was about 30 minutes a day of and 20 seconds of just extremely intense exercise, and that's it. I think so just the physiological changes, that again, the adaptation just from that one stimulus each day was pretty wild. I did not think I would get the results that I did. And then
where did you start and where did you end? Like what was sort of that line? Like,
yeah, pretty much right at like 22 flat, 22 low. I did do the first few in like a regular practice brief. And then I changed doing pretty much all of them in a tech suit. So that, I think if I had done those first few in a tech suit, I might have been 21 highs or something. But there was also like a mental component, right? Like I got a lot better at being like mentally prepared to go fast because I was just doing it so often. It didn't always make it easier. Sometimes it was really hard to, there were a few occasions where I would I would go through my process to get ready, step up on the blocks, and I would have to step down because I knew from doing it so much, like I'm not in the right headspace right now. I'm distracted. I'm not thinking positively. I'm just not where I need to be mentally. And so I had to like get a little bit of a reset there.
That's
so
interesting.
started right around 22 flat ish, and then ended up right around 20 point high towards the end.
Wow. Yeah. So how did that, like, after going through that, how did that, I don't know, just change like your line of maybe thinking like as a coach, but also in your own like training and stuff?
I mean, it changed a lot. Like the emphasis that I put on the mental side of swimming. I've always known that it was mental, but going through that experiment, there were days when I was really sick, like just physically completely out of it, could barely get out of bed, and I would just drag myself into the pool because I had this external motivation of the experiment. I have to do it and I don't have a choice. And like it just has to happen. And so with that, even though I was feeling terrible, I would still do everything I could within my control to get my body ready to go fast that day. And so just, having to go through that and then seeing the results on some of my sickest days, I just was able to still swim really fast. I mean, I had the second time I got sick, I think I was still going, 20 point high, 20.8, 20.9, feeling just absolute terrible. But I was on mentally that day, right? I was very focused, very motivated. I was able to stay present and positive and still get the results. So, this sport is so incredibly mental. And sprinting especially, I think is like when you're laser focused and you have the right mindset, I think you can be unstoppable. And the opposite of that is if you're going into a race and you're thinking about other things and you're not dialed in, or your self-talk is negative, or you're worried about this, or you're worried about this, like, good luck. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It's so true. So true. So does that experiment and sort of what you're talking about, does that translate over to like how you coach your athletes too now? Like, hey, this is what, you need to be focusing on when it comes to your races. Like, is the messaging kind of translatable over to your athletes from something like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think mentally and physically with training, like it showed me, and my best ever in college ever, my whole career was 19.9. And my last couple were like 20.4, 20.5. So, it's not super close, but it's not that far off, especially just like thinking about everything I did in college, all the training that I did in college, and just doing a 50 a day. Right. But it also makes me think about all the other things, right? Like the sleep and the stress and taking care of your body, right? Like I think about my experience in college, how much stress I put on myself, and just the environment put on me, right? Dealing with school and trying to make money and trying to be a full-time athlete and like just constant and just stress of being a social college student, right? Trying to find your way in the world within your friend groups. And just constantly bombarded with stress all the time. And then, you think about all the late nights studying or doing other things. And it's like, I wasn't sleeping well. I probably wasn't eating very well. And it's like, and then you add on all the stress of all the training. It's like, I probably should have been a lot faster. Right. But then, you do take care of all those things. You reduce your stress. And that's one thing I tried to do. I tried to be very consistent with my diet and my sleep and my, stretching and taking care of my body and recovery. And, my everything other than the swimming was probably much better than what it ever was during my career. Although we did, my wife did have a baby. And so that came with some sleepless nights, quite a bit of sleepless nights, but it has allowed me to relay that to my athletes and say, hey, like, no, there's no amount of work that we can do that's going to overcome, lack of recovery, lack of quality, lack of good habits, like, right. Like you can, like, it can be a Band-Aid and you can swim well if you're just working really, really hard. But the real magic happens when you do all of these other things really well too. And when the work that you do in the water is really, really high quality.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, I think it's invaluable for swimmers to hear that too. Because I would even see on your post, you would include your stress levels, and I was like, oh, that's really helpful actually, because it shows like where your body, your mind is at going into, the 50. So
Yep.
I think it's really key, and it's a reminder for me as a coach too to take that into consideration when sort of educating my athletes. So I think it's great. And so like on top of being, a full-time coach, I can see like you're still swimming regularly. You're still getting in the water, now. And so like where are you at with sort of how you like to approach your own training and your swimming? I mean, obviously you did the 100 days challenge. That's in the past now, but like how has it changed or evolved for you now?
So now I fit it in where I can.
Yeah.
I get to swim outside. So I like when I'm swimming regularly, I'm a better person. I'm a better
Yeah.
coach, I'm just happier. I love being in the water. Um, and I like competing. So I try to find little things here and there to compete. So right now it's just a really fun thing to do for me. So the pro group here at UCSD trains right before our practice, and so I'll hop in with them occasionally. I don't do their practices because I can't. And most of their pro group right now is kind of like middle distance swimmers, so they're working pretty hard over there.
They're working. Yeah.
But I'll hop in a lane by them, and Marco, the head UCSD coach, Marco, he gives me some tips here and there, and so it's just really fun right now. And then my buddy Mario up at he's coaching at Spartan up in kind of the Pasadena area. He's really making moves with his club and his masters club and his masters team that he like coaches and is also a part of. They've broken some age group records and some masters records and stuff. So he invited me up to do a meet next month, and I was like, yeah, it'd be nice to compete again. It's been a little while. So
Totally.
so I am taking it a little more seriously right now. I'm also working with an old teammate of mine, Kirill Blondell. He was an amazing swimmer, sprinter at Louisville. He's from Trinidad. He is doing a deep dive. He's being very secretive about it, but he's a mastermind when it comes to sprinting, and I'm really excited for him to share his knowledge. But he's also helping me, and just we're looking at sprinting a little bit differently, as well as dryland and strength training, and we're doing some really fun stuff. So it's something that just keeps me happy, and it's always fun to hop in with the kids and be able to show them things. I still run a lot of clinics, and so it helps to be able to get in the water with them and demonstrate. And but also I'm just a competitor. I just love to race, and so kind of scratches that itch.
Totally. Yeah. So take us back just a little bit. Where did you compete at when you were in college? You mentioned Louisville, so I'm assuming it's Louisville. But where did you compete at, and then how did you eventually get into coaching afterwards?
So I grew up in West Michigan, went to Granville High School and swam high school, played water polo, played baseball, ran track. I was an athlete forever, my entire life, just doing every sport I could think of. My parents would allow me to do. Swimming kind of took off early high school, and then went to the university, got an opportunity to swim at the University of Michigan. That's right when Mike Bottom had taken over that program. And so as a sprinter, it just made the most sense. It's in my home state, with the best sprint coach in the country, arguably, but it's pretty well, especially at the time, pretty well known. And Well, except maybe Auburn at that time, which they didn't recruit me. So sorry, Brett wasn't interested, I guess, back then. But I was also a pretty late bloomer. Like I didn't really start going fast until my senior year. And by that point, the recruiting process was already, pretty much done. I was recruited in the fall, and I didn't really go fast until March of my senior year. So, and then, there's a whole long story of how things went at Michigan that we don't need to get into, but it just wasn't the right fit. And so they didn't have a transfer portal at the time. It was a little bit different process, but Mike was kind enough to give me a complete release to go wherever I wanted. And Louisville picked up the phone right away. And I was super excited to meet them. And Ryan, so my staff at Louisville, this is pretty cool. With Arthur Albiero, obviously legendary coach at Louisville now for a long time, has built that program up from literally nothing to consistent, top 15 program. Ryan Wakamerka, who is an Auburn stud and now is back head coach at Auburn. Chris Lindauer, who was a stud in his own right at Louisville, so he's a Louisville product, but is now, at Stanford, coaching the women there. One of the biggest jobs, best jobs in the country. I'm super proud of him. Just excited for him and his family. And then Rachel Commissars, who was an Olympian and just an incredible swimmer and coach herself. So I just had this like insane I went from one all-star staff with Mike Bottom and Mark Hill at Michigan to that insane staff at Louisville. And I was just like, so lucky to be at both places with the opportunities and learn so much from just all those amazing coaches. And I really think like I had an amazing club and high school coaches too, just amazing people and very knowledgeable coaches. And just like the culmination of all of that, it honestly just hit me my senior year. Like this is what I wanted. This is all I wanted. I just want to coach swimming. And I attribute a lot of that to just the amazing coaches that I had.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's infectious to be around like great kind of coaches like that, kind of how you're describing. And you didn't go the college route, did you? You stayed more in club and high school, it seems like, right? Or am I wrong there?
Yep. No, you're exactly right. Yeah, it's not a typical path for a Division I swimmer. I think a lot of higher level swimmers, especially at that level, will just kind of keep going as a grad assistant, either at their college or something nearby, or they get an opportunity somewhere. But for me, I was actually married. I was married at 20, and so my wife and I, as soon as my senior year was done, we were a young married couple going through struggles and just trying to figure things out financially and relationally, and we decided that it was best to move back to Michigan with family and just to be around family, and we both are very close to both of our families. So we moved back but I wanted to coach, and so I just found any way I could coach and work and provide for my family, and I was still training. I've never stopped training. So I was working full time. I actually started out with just a factory job and kind of part-time coaching high school and club. It literally is, at one point I was a head water polo coach, assistant high school swim coach, and head club coach all at the same time, just juggling 3 different teams and working full time. So I was putting in 80, 90 hours a week, working before the sun came up and well past the sun went down, and Michigan winters, and it was a grind. But through all of that, I did that from 2013 to 2019, 19, basically.
Wow.
And just put in the work, and I've learned so much throughout the process. And so to have an opportunity again like this here in California, it definitely makes it all worth it. And I don't regret any of it. And yeah, like a lot of people go that college route, and I think it'd be super fun to coach college. I think my personality actually fits college coaching quite well. But these high school years for these kids are, I mean, we all know how important they are. They shape your future. And I'm honored to be a part of that. And it has taught me so much about life and coaching. And if I get into college someday, I know that these years are going to help me be a better coach when I get there. So if I get there, I'm loving club coaching right now. It's what I want to do, and it's what I'm doing. And I'm just blessed to be where I am.
Totally. Yeah. All right. Well, last few questions here. Throughout your career, what are some of the most memorable meets that you have been a part of?
Two stick out, and they're both relays. So my senior year, medley relay state championship final, I actually swam breaststroke, which was it was really unexpected. I rarely swam breaststroke. But me and my coach kind of worked the math, and I was confident in what I felt like I could do. And so we went with it, and we ended up winning the state championship in that medley relay, and from an outside lane. And it was just really just kind of, it was the first ever state championship, I think, for my high school, of any kind, individual or relay. And so it was a relay, and that was really special. So that was one of them. And then just the 400 free relay, my last college race, a final, swimming against people like Vlad Morozov and just, these top sprinters in the country. And I love relays. I'm very much so like a relay swimmer, and I like to anchor. And so I got the opportunity to anchor that relay and win a lifetime best. And we ended up, in fourth place. And it was just an incredible, incredible moment. The magnitude of that race is just incredible. So those are kind of the two. I've had a couple of fun ones since. Like I swam on a relay with my athletes at sectionals when I was, this is probably back in 2018. So I was 28 years old, and we needed one more guy to have a relay at sectionals. And it's just fun. It's fun to get to share that type of experience with your athletes, to just be, kind of on their level, competing with them. There's something different about that too. So, yeah.
Awesome. I saw on your Instagram that you posted also it was a post that I'll kind of summarize, but just saying like, you said that there's only one you, there's only ever going to be one you that exists. And so kind of like honor that, be authentic to yourself and whatever it is that your pursuit is. So, like what did that mean to you when you were kind of putting that out? And
it's a message that I just try to convey to my swimmers, but just people around me. Like, we're all like, we are all similar, right? We share a lot of life experiences, but God made us all unique, and so so I always just encourage my athletes to figure out what makes you unique. And it's like, for me, I don't know. I don't know that anyone else has done 50 frees for 100 days like I did. It's like, I don't know. It's just like, just keep searching for what makes you unique, and don't be afraid to like go after it. And because I think when you are being like your authentic self, that's when it gets really fun. And stop worrying about what other people think. And even like it's so hard, like being on social media now, like having a presence and like a small following, like I can't tell you how many videos that I've made that I haven't posted because I'm just like, oh, the people are gonna think this is silly or like dumb. It's like, why? Like, nobody really cares, right? No. And so just like be yourself. Do what makes you happy and motivates you and drives you, and find what you're passionate about, and just go for it and do it and figure out a way to make it happen. A lot of like, I don't know if I'll be able to coach full time for the rest of my life. I hope I can, but I'm gonna do what I can to make it happen, because this is what I love to do. So, and yeah, like just. And also like be proud of yourself for who you are, right? Like, it's special. Like being you is special because there is only one you. And so like, be proud of that too. Like as flawed as I am, like I'm also pretty proud of myself for what I've accomplished in my career. And yeah, don't be so hard on yourself, because that's also really easy to do, especially in today's society, when there are just so many like high level achievers like doing all this amazing stuff. Well, like if you really take a step back, you've done some pretty amazing things too. We all have, right? And so yeah, I guess that's what the message was there.
It's a great message. I think, we'll leave it at that. I think it's great. And final question. Are you a fan of a get out swim? And if so, do you have any favorite get out swim story?
I absolutely am. I've witnessed some incredible get out swims. And we just did our first one here. I went really easy. Bree, one of our girls, I gave her an opportunity. Like if you go, I think I only said like you can do a 50 with fins on if you go faster than your best time, then we get out, or something silly and simple like that. But I knew, right? I knew she was going to go faster, but how much faster? So the way that you apply get out swims is really important too. But it's like, because I didn't like, there was enough pressure on her that I knew she was going to go fast. And she was like 23.0 with fins on, which, I mean, I think her time in the 50 is like 25 low or something like that, right? And so for her to go 3.0 with fins on, it's like, that's really good.
That's a serious swim,
yeah. And so I guarantee you that's the fastest she's ever done a 50 with fins on too. So it's like, hey, you just won a lifetime best there. Like, there you go. And so yes, to answer your question, I love get out swims. I like getting creative with them. But yeah, absolutely. Dangle that carrot in the right way, and kids will eat it up.
Totally. Love it. All right, Sam. Well, thanks for hopping on. It was really great to talk with you. I feel like I learned a lot in a short amount of time. And yeah, if there's anything else you'd like to add, now's the time.
No, I just appreciate you for having me on. Thanks for letting me ramble. I always love talking swimming and learning from others. So, and this is good practice for me. I hope to start my own podcast someday. So, it's always good to get on with other people and see how they do things. So, no, I appreciate having me on.
For sure. Yeah. Again, learned a lot. I can sense your passion about the sport, about coaching and swimming. So I think that's a great takeaway for anyone who's listening. So thanks again, and all the best to your team this year.